everyone, welcome to today's cooking class. So I have to say that for those of you who have seen the cauliflower, the roasted cauliflower in the oven, I've done that in advance just to save a little time today. So please check out previous videos where I roast cauliflower, or if you're in a pinch, we have a fast video coming at you on Instagram with the steps that I use to make the cauliflower. This said, today we're going to be using roasted cauliflower, a tomato carrot topping, and a cucumber carrot top tzatziki, as well as a pinto bean mash. Because I don't have a Cuisinart, I could make like a hummus variety of pinto beans, but I'm just going to use my fork, so it'll be a pinto bean mash, and we're going to put that together in a beautiful pita and make a veggie sandwich. So that was a lot of words, and let's get talking, let's get cooking, let's do it. So, okay, I'm going to start with the cucumber, or the tomato and the carrots, and I'm just going to use one tomato. And probably just half, I'll set that aside. Usually I like to use a serrated knife to cut tomatoes. Since I don't have one today, I can't find it in this kitchen, I'm going to use the soft side and I'll cut into that. But usually, of course, when you're cutting round objects, it's better to put it in half and then place it face down on the cutting board so you don't cut your fingers, because we want to enjoy our food and not spend the day at the ER. I'm going to cut pretty thin slices of this tomato, and once they're cut in half, I think I'll just put the knife down and cut strips, and then I'll cut tiny little pieces. That's good enough. Into the bowl. And then we have already used some carrots in the roasting of the cauliflower, so I'm just going to take one or two. These have already been washed. And if you find that they don't wash easily, you can use the baking soda technique that we've done in another video, or you can give them a good scrub, but these are fine for me. And I'm just going to grate them. I'm going to grate them on the tiny grate. We'll see how sometimes it's super annoying because it takes a really long time, but I'll just grate these carrots really quickly. Of course, when using a grater, you have to be really careful that you don't take the skin off of your knuckles, because I cannot tell you how easy it is to do. So caution, caution. This is just going to add a little flavor and some nice texture to our pita. We've already used the carrots and we've roasted them in the oven, and I really like to use two different kinds of the same vegetables, or two different varieties of putting something in the same meal. I feel like it just adds a little flavor and a little excitement to the food. So that's actually probably a lot of carrots. I'm just going to add that. Carrots are so good for you, and they're such a great way of getting vitamin A and a lot of other fat-soluble vitamins that you need for healthy nutrition. So don't be afraid of eating those carrots. I'm going to take about a quarter of a lemon, squeeze it in there, pinch of salt. It's about like a quarter of a teaspoon, and just a little olive oil. Probably about a teaspoon. And I'm just going to set this aside. This will just sort of marinate in its own juices. Super simple, nice little like slaw or topping. And then let's move on to the tzatziki. So we'll keep that lemon there because we'll use that again. Again, everything that we're using today is available at Gaia's Gift in the food pantry. The only thing I'm using that isn't available to you when you pick up on Friday is the Mexican crema that came from Mario Brothers next door. So if you do come by and want to do this on your own, just pop on over if you want to use that, or you could use sour cream. I use Greek yogurt at home. I think that tastes the best when you're making tzatziki, but there's a lot of different varieties out there, and you shouldn't stop yourself. Do what works for your budget, do what works for your tastes. It's all about you and your flavors. I'm going to do 2 cucumbers. And then I'll cut them in half. And then of course, flat side down, we'll just, actually, you know what? I'm gonna cut them in quarters. I think that's gonna be better today. So still flat side down, cut into strips now, or quarters, and we'll chop some. Oh, cucumbers smell so good. These are Persian cucumbers. These are smaller than the regular cucumbers that you find at the store. Usually those are, like traditional cucumbers are like really big and they usually are very waxy. And Persian cucumbers are much denser and smaller and I think a lot more robust in flavor. This is an amazing way of getting just hydrated. I mean, you can put cucumber slices on your eyes to reduce puffiness. Cucumbers have a ton of essential vitamins. It's just, they're amazing. They taste really good in water if you want to just leave cucumber in water. So this is the tops of the carrots. So carrot tops are not to be thrown away. You can do a lot with this. Today I'm just adding them into this tzatziki for fun, for flavor, but it's amazing. You can make like a pesto with carrot tops with the same ingredients as you would a regular pesto for pasta, but you can use carrot tops instead. So when you do get this amazing produce at the farmer's market, you don't have to throw that away. You can use this and like just stretch your dollar completely. It's all edible. So just chop it up. If you were making a pesto, you could use like a Cuisinart or a blender or a RoboCoupe, whatever people call them, and do the pesto instead of the parsley, which actually is sort of the same flavor anyway. It's just a really great expense to spare if you want to make all of your produce last for as long as it possibly can, which I'm sure we all do. So that was about a bunch, just like a handful. I'm gonna throw it in there, clean my space off. And this is a really small bowl, but let's see if we can make it work. I'm going to add some garlic. About 2 cloves chopped, and some lemon, just the other half of the lemon. So it's about 2/3 of the lemon or half of a lemon, whatever. I am a lazy lemon squeezer. I squeeze lemons and all of the seeds go directly into the thing, and I won't judge you if you do the same thing. If you want to take it out, it's nicer for your guests because they don't have to eat lemon seeds, but I just leave them in there and people can deal with it. So don't worry about it. Food doesn't have to be perfect. There's no rule to what you do. And when you're feeding people, they're pretty happy about what they're eating anyway. So I don't think anyone will complain. Pepper. And I'm gonna mix it up before we add the cream. This is really, note to self, you know, having the right size bowl before you do things is really a better idea. It just makes everything easier in the kitchen. So your mise en place should include the right size bowls. I didn't do that today, but I think we'll make it work. All right, so this is all chopped up and all mixed up, ready to go. I'm only going to add about, I don't know, three or 4 teaspoons of the cream. We'll start with 3, and we'll see how that goes. I think I'm going to add a little bit more, but not too much more. Let's taste it. Very garlicky, very lemony, very tasty. 1 more teaspoon and we'll be good. Okay. That's that. So we have the cucumber tzatziki with carrot tops. We have a tomato and grated carrot topping slaw, and we will move on. The next thing we'll do, because the cauliflower and the carrots are already done, they're cooling off in the oven. So the next thing we'll do is we'll just do a simple pinto bean mash. You can do this with garbanzo beans or any bean of your choosing. Pinto beans and legumes in general have just a ton of B vitamins, a ton of protein, a ton of really good complex carbohydrates. They are essentially a perfect nutrient, completely balanced. So I'm kind of a fan. So we'll do just a simple thing. You don't need fancy tools for this either. I'm using a fork. There are way more tools that are easier to do this with, but if you don't have those tools, that's fine. You can easily mash pinto beans just on their own with a fork in a bowl. So this will be our protein base today. This is a vegetarian pita, but if you wanted to omit the cream or the yogurt, you could make this vegan. If you wanted to add chicken, this would be really good with chicken, and obviously not vegan, but still tasty. So there's a lot of different options for everybody to enjoy the food the way that they want to. So just working, just getting some muscles. I'm gonna keep mashing these. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil at this point. This is essentially what you have is the beginnings of refried beans. I mean, if you did this, you could easily just make refried beans from this. I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. A half of a teaspoon of salt, and we'll keep mashing. You know what, I have a little bit of garlic left over. I'm just gonna add the remnants of that. It's probably about a half of a teaspoon of garlic. Not a big deal if you don't wanna add it. And a lot of people don't even like garlic, so this is a completely optional spice. I know it's upsetting to some people's stomachs, but garlic is really, really good for you in so many ways. It can help you lower cholesterol, lower blood sugar, glucose levels. It is really bad for your breath, but really good for your heart. So, you know, everybody has to make their own choices. All right, so that's done. I'm gonna add a little bit more olive oil and make it nice and creamy. Probably about 2 more tablespoons. You know what? I'm gonna add some pepper. I'm gonna add some pepper to this, and maybe even some garlic powder, just to spice it up. None of these things are mandatory. This is just as delicious with salt and pepper, or just salt, little olive oil, lemon juice. You do not need these spices to create delicious food. So just so you know, it can be done many different ways, and don't be afraid of just trying it out in the kitchen. Okay, that's done. There you go, it's mashed up. We're gonna layer this into our pita. I'm gonna clean up the counter and we'll start making it. One more thing, you guys don't have to do this, and I'm not videoing this for you, but I did take some pinto beans and I dried them off with a paper towel, and I just flash fried them in a little bit of oil with salt. So they're a little crispy, and we'll add that into the pita just to add a little flavor and texture. So side note, if you guys want to try that out, you can email us or IG us on Instagram, and I can show you how to do it. So let's clean the station and I'll be right back. Okay, so I cleaned off the station. I put back my nice trusty wooden cutting board because I like that better, and prepared it all for you. So one thing I found out about these pitas, which you might find as well on Friday at pickup, is that they don't separate easily. They have been frozen in advance, and so usually you can take a pita and open the pocket and then you shove it full of stuff. So this is going to be more like a gyro, which is basically a pita and a taco sort of mixed together, or however you'd like to envision that. We'll eat it like this. So first we'll just start with the this mash, the pinto bean mash. And I think because I am going to eat it like a taco, I'll just smash it down. So I guess you can either pick this up or eat it like a sandwich, or at this point you could probably just cut it with a fork and a knife if you wanted to. But so I'm just going to put a little bit of that underneath. We'll put a little bit of the cauliflower. Again, this would probably be better with a spatula, but you don't need a spatula to cook. A fork and a spoon will get you far in an oven and a kitchen. Okay, I'm just gonna do a few pieces of that, and then a few pieces of the carrot because we did put it on. And then the tzatziki. And the carrots and tomatoes. And then, not to forget these little fried beans. We'll put these on. And we will wrap it up. So, here is our breadhead veggie pita for the day, veggie gyro. I hope you enjoyed this recipe and let us know if you did.